Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
So happy to be back with you all. We have so many good things to unpack today.
Unpack away. Put away the luggage. We're going to unpack. When do we not have something good for y'all? We never fail you, do we?
And we always unpack. We unpack, we pack, unpack, repack, and then we unpack again.
What we don't do is we don't suppress, we don't hide, we don't
Nope.
lie. We don't do any of that shit. So
And
you're
then once
welcome.
we get it out, it's out.
It's out.
It's out.
And then we don't revisit.
Sometimes we revisit.
We don't ruminate.
We don't ruminate. I'm excited to dive into this topic actually though today because I think there is so much about the one and how do I find that perfect partner and all of the things that really can make dating so difficult and challenging. We have our eyes set on this like ideal that's in our minds.
Mhm.
And I think the reason why you can't find the one is because you believe in the one in the first place.
And sure, we love this idea that this one magical person is checking all the boxes. But then what happens when they don't? This is what we do. We swipe next and we repeat the whole process again.
And the truth is that dating apps have really reinforced this shopping mentality and not a
Hmm.
connection one.
But love isn't about finding that someone perfect. It's about finding someone who's real and finding someone who's perfectly imperfect for you, where you show up for each other over and over again.
And the one is not found, they're not discovered, they are built together, and we choose our
Yes.
partner every day.
I think built is the key word.
Yeah.
The one doesn't come out of the package already as is. And whoever says after a date, they go, "Oh, I think I found the one," or "I think this is it. I think this is my person." No, they're not because you haven't created anything together yet. On paper, they may check all the boxes. And this is why we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we do want to find someone who, after the first date, goes, yeah, that not that I think this is my person, but yeah, I think this person wants to build a life with me.
Right, and it's near impossible to know that right away. But I think the expectation of love on demand, which we cover extensively in our book, this is something when UA and I were thinking about like what are the real challenges in modern dating? Like what is at the core getting in our way? And there's this feeling like everything else in life that it's all instantaneous, that it happens immediately. And then when like dating and love does not develop that way, when we don't see that chemistry on date 1, we feel like it's not ever going to be there, and that's simply not true in the way that relationships are built.
And it truly takes time. All of this truly takes time. And yes, you can say, I just know within 5 minutes if there is something with this person. Yeah, you can be confident in yourself in knowing that, but also, how do you really know? That's the question I have. How do you really know? I think within 5 minutes, we can know if we have attraction towards someone.
Yeah.
We know that if we like spending time with them. But just knowing, like, yep, this is my person, or nope, this is not my person, I think we're really jumping the gun there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectation of love on demand, it causes us to pass over people where there could actually be something that gets built. And it also causes us to overly invest in people that we have that like immediate connection with that might not actually be sustainable to build something with. Like
Hmm.
I feel like there's been so many times I can think about my own patterns, but then also of friends and people we've talked to on this podcast of just like really holding on to that first great date
Yeah.
even though the subsequent communication or they tell you outright that they don't want a relationship, like things like that are not good. But we hold on to this vision of like who we thought they were and continue this imagination ship of like what could be. But that doesn't like serve us at all because it's not reality.
And even if you do end up in a relationship and turn that imagination ship into a relationship, you're soon going to find out that the person you had built them up to be is no longer there. because at some point you're going to peel back the curtains and see, oh, right, this person was here the whole time. I had just imagined someone else. And when you follow that script of like wanting someone to fill a certain role or a certain emptiness in your heart, you're just setting them up to fail because
Yeah.
that person has no idea that you've created a character for them that they're not part of.
I also think this is why I don't believe on spending that much time on dating apps, like analyzing the profile, because I think we get ahead of ourselves and we fill in the blanks and we build this person that doesn't really exist or we envision this person. I remember like one of my old roommate like just being newer to dating apps and being like, I think I met my soulmate. And
Yeah.
just like so excited, even like it was even beyond just the profile. Like she clearly was into the profile, but she
Yeah.
was like the banter through text message and just like she's like, "I think this is it." And I'm like, "Why don't you go meet them first and see?"
Yep.
Because there's so much. And then when she met him, she's just like, "Yeah, no.
Nope.
Like this is not it."
Not my
And
person.
I think like I guess like you could argue like could that I mean it's kind of like with expectation of love on demand, maybe if she kept seeing him, maybe it could have developed, but then there are some other instances too that you just like no, it's not gonna like be the right fit at all. So in those cases, it's the buildup that happened prior.
Where did this come from? Where did this idea of the one come from? Is it media? Is it religion? I'm still trying to get to the bottom of this because whoever spread this propaganda really screwed us over in love.
Yeah. I think it's like the rom-com, like the early '90s rom-com that, like, persisted into, like, 2000s too. There was such
Mhm.
this emphasis on, like, the person and, like, I guess Disney movies kinda go
Mhm.
there too. If there's something before that, I'd love to consult ChatGPT or someone to learn. In fact, I might pull it up as we talk because I am quite curious, like, what is the origin of the one? But I think, like, over the years, I almost feel like people have accepted, like, there is no one. Like, I
Mhm.
think, like, the what resonates with people is, like, okay, there could be many people, like, if things didn't work out with my ex, for instance, like, I could still, find love. It's not like the only person out there. I think on a logical level, we get that, but there is this level that's, like, maybe more subconscious that we feel like there's a scarcity of available people or, like, they must check all these certain boxes in order to be the person, and we don't really see like the creating together as like the focus. It's still like I need to find this person in the needle of the haystack.
It's also this feeling that we're chasing. We hear
Yeah.
like, when you know, you know. I've had friends tell me, oh, I just had this overwhelming feeling that this was my person. I'm sorry, I've never had that feeling before. And I think for so long I was chasing that. Like, oh, is this not the person for me then? If I don't have this all consuming, this is my person feeling. And now I realize the feeling is commercialized. It is the feeling that they keep promoting in those rom-coms of like, yeah, this elusive one you just know. When you know, but you don't. Most of the time
S-
you don't know.
I feel like the times when I thought it was just like it burnt out fast.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's lust. It's attraction.
So this is interesting. I did consult ChatGPT of the origin, and
Mhm.
they say that it's a combination of ancient philosophy and mythology. That's where it like
Oh.
evolved from and then was reinforced by religious idea of fate
Uh-huh.
and grew
Uh-huh.
popular through romantic literature and media. It's a compelling mix of myth, magic, and modern longing, the human desire to be fully
Oh.
seen and fully loved. And they place back some of the ancient philosophy piece to Plato's split apart theory, where there's like humans were originally whole beings with four arms, four legs, and two faces, and then God split them in half, considering them and to spend their lives searching for their other half. So this gave The idea that, like, we're seeking our missing parts and someone
Mm,
else completes us. And then, there's stuff with the Kabbalah in Judaism,
mm,
Christianity, Hinduism that also kind of reinforces this. And then the 17th to 19th century, there's, like, romantic movement of that love isn't just practical, it's spiritual and fated. And then modern pop culture, like books, movies, songs, all of that reinforce the belief that true love means finding the one.
good. Good. It's nice to have that comprehensive background because I think we can still take away some of the positives from this whole thing. It's not just terrible to think there is the one. I think believing is
Yeah.
key to finding love, believing that you will find love, believing that you are desirable, you are deserving of love, believing that someone will love you. And also believing that the right person will love all of you, not just parts of you. They don't need to take you apart like a buffet. So I will take that part of the origins of the one and I will keep that. I think that is serving us. What is not serving us is this idea of that we're spending our entire lifetimes waiting for someone, looking for someone to complete us. And it's this search, this endless search. And if you don't find them, then you're incomplete. That part I will throw away because I truly believe that we are whole and then someone else will just make us the right person will just make us expand even more, but doesn't exactly make us complete.
Yeah. This is actually interesting. That's also got pulled up in this ChatGPT search, but it was like the difference between destiny beliefs in a relationship, that there's one perfect person out there for you, and then growth beliefs that focus on compatibility that is built, not found. So it's
Mm,
still believing, but it's looking for something different. And I
hmm.
think that's really important thinking about dating, is we go into dating expecting like the person to be kind of off the shelf, all the
Yeah,
perfect qualities, the traits that we want that we've envisioned in the one. And then when that's not the case, we're like, peace out, bye.
yeah,
But the reality is that no one's perfect. And we might be doing that for quite some time. Or even worse, maybe overlooking things that actually matter because our lists
yeah.
are flawed. But then if we go into dates thinking about this more like growth belief, I met someone, like, cool that I could talk to. I was attracted enough, could it
Mhm,
grow? And, like,
mhm.
seeing every date and seeing if it progresses. And I know that sounds, like, really unsexy when you think about it that way. Like, even just the way I described the first 2, like, it sounds like so much more of, like, that movie of, like, I go in and I'm swept away at the bar, and, like, when I meet this person, I'm just like, the chemistry is crazy versus, like, they were good enough. Like, that sounds so bad. But I do
Yeah.
think, like, that's the reset that needs to happen, and you're not settling. You're just being realistic of, like, what it means to have a long-term partner that's not just based on chemistry.
This is the conversation I feel like we keep having over and over again. We've romanticized the idea of relationships, which is why we focus so much on dating and the falling in love part and finding someone who chooses you, that you choose back, because that's all romanticized. And then you go through a honeymoon period in a relationship because that is the period for most new couples where they don't want to show their true selves, where they truly live in delusion. And I think if we were to really show what relationships are, some people might say, that's not for me, right? Like some people might be like, I don't want to
Yeah.
chase that. Because if we don't have this romanticized version of relationships and have a more practical view of relationships, some people are not willing to do the work, and that's okay. But I think that's where the conflict comes right now. Everybody wants the good, the
Yeah.
romance of relationships. They don't want to put in the work. And so then that's why we get in this we get cornered in dating because it's like, oh, I'm trying to find someone who to fall in love with. But when you're actually doing day to day with them, are you willing to do the work? Are they willing to do the work? We don't know.
I think it Until really doing this podcast, I feel like I wasn't even really aware of like what a real relationship entailed.
Mhm.
I think
I
like
agree.
so many of my past ones were just like that honeymoon stage and then burnout.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I don't think I even was, like, equipped when I was showing up. Like, I was just literally looking for, like, someone to choose me past the first 3 dates, define the relationship, and that was, like, the end goal. Not,
Yeah.
like, actually being in a sustainable long-term relationship with them.
Yeah. Uh, exactly that. I'm at my parents' house right now, and their neighbor who found out about our podcast, by the way, she's like, "I just saw," and she saw me carrying a microphone. She's like, "I've been listening to your podcast." She's married with kids,
Oh,
and she's like, "I just always assumed that I would get married and have kids.
yeah.
And now that I'm married with kids, now I'm wondering, why did I do that?" And I was like, "Why? What was your why?" And she's like, "I'm still searching for the why." And I'm like, that is
Yeah.
so many people because they live in this, again, when we use this word delusion, of this romantic life that movies and maybe religion has
Yeah.
painted, and maybe your friends and family have painted, because most of our friends and family, our relatives, don't want to paint the ugly of
No.
relationships. They'll never reveal it. So all you get is this picture perfect image of what relationships are about. Once you get into one, you're like, fuck, this is a lot. This is a, yes, there's so much good that comes with relationships, but there's so much that you have to put in as well. And so many people don't understand that.
And this isn't to discourage people from finding a person,
No,
because I
no.
do think truly, like, if you can think about just, like, what the larger one looks like and also recognize you're not gonna just, like, stumble on them, and it is built over time, and yes, this person that you envisioned in your head might not actually look like the person you meet. I think some of that stuff is, like, hard for people to rectify, but if you are able to do that and be like, okay, I always thought I was gonna be with, like, a brunette. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah.
And now I've realized, like, that's cool if that happens, but, like, what's more important is, like, they're, like, in it with me and
Yeah.
willing to do like, the growth it takes to sustain a relationship and, like, all the other things that make a relationship function. Maybe it's okay if they're not a brunette, like, things like that. Like, I think if you're in that headspace that you're more open to the stuff that really doesn't matter, but have non-negotiables around the stuff that does. Like, I think,
Yeah.
like, for years, like, I feel like I stayed with these people that were like, "Oh," I don't either, I guess, outright said they don't want a relationship, or they're like, "Well, I kinda want a relationship," or like, "I want the fun
Yeah.
parts of a relationship." I think to me, that became a non-negotiable the last time I dated, and that
Mhm.
was such a healthier place to be coming from, to find someone that also was willing to put in the work.
Yes, absolutely. And I think maybe it's a conversation of, when we say what are you looking for? Right now we just have these buckets. I'm looking for fun, I'm looking for a relationship,
Yeah,
I'm looking for marriage. There's there's just so few buckets. I actually think there's so many nuances. I think you can be looking for
yeah.
companionship without a relationship.
Mhm.
I think you can be looking for a relationship where you build, or you can be looking for a relationship where it's just pure romance,
Yeah,
which then it's a fling. We can call that
yeah.
a fling.
And it leaves after a couple months, and that's okay, yeah.
That's okay. Why can't we just define these more in terms of, like, what do I have the capacity for right
Yeah,
now? And what am I willing to do right now? Versus, I think we keep letting each other down because we get into relationships, everybody assuming it's to make this last as
yeah.
long as possible, at the expense of your mental health, at the expense of your beliefs, at the expense of your energy. Let's just be more fucking honest about our own capacity for love.
It makes me think of that episode that we did with Ryan Van Duzer that was like, "Is everyone cut
Yes.
out for a long-term relationship?" And we
Right.
also, spoiler alert, have another episode coming this
Yes.
season that is in a way similar, but also different, but similar in the sense like like when things, get out of that romantic bubble,
Yeah.
it kind of like, comes apart. And I
Yeah.
think, like, if we can be honest, like, I think Ryan, that example, he knew that was his pattern. And
Yeah.
I think some of it is like on the person to express it, but also the receiving end, we tend to want to hear what we want to hear. It's as we think we can change people. And I'm not saying this about Ryan's ex. I'm saying this about myself because I've been there before. But
Same.
like you think you can be the one that's different and like they'll change. And I think just being more realistic of like, okay, this person is telling me that they have a history of relationships that end after 6 months. Like, maybe that is, like, all this is cut out for, and, like, is that something I wanna sign up for? And I know that's
Yes.
not romantic, it's not sexy, but I think that is, like, the path we need to be on if we wanna avoid some of this unnecessary heartbreak and really
Yeah.
be aligned with what we're ultimately looking for. And if we're looking for that 6-month fling, great, like, there's no shame to that, it's more just
No
when
shame.
we are in out of alignment, that's when the heartbreak happens.
I think there is some shame though for people to say I'm looking for a fling or
Yeah,
I'm looking for
totally.
something short term. Because sometimes you're judged for that, like you're not being serious. So, how do we normalize that? And how do we just not assume everyone's looking for something serious? Like,
Yeah.
even when you're not looking for something serious, like I could be like, I'm looking for a monogamous fling, just one person. We just have fun, we have
Yeah.
sex, we go on dates, we have good food. I don't want to deal with whatever you're going like I don't want to deal with your family issues. You don't want to deal with mine. Let's not in let's not merge our lives, but let's just enjoy all the fun of companionship. Why why is nobody willing to say that? I wish I were willing to say that at some point in my life.
I know, but, like, no one wants to say that.
Nobody wants to say that.
And
Why
I think
can't we yeah, why?
there's stigma on it. There is. It makes it like, it feels like you're deviating from the norm, because I do think
Uh-huh.
everyone assumes that everyone is looking for a long-term relationship. Even if, like and I think with the hookup, if, like, that's your mentality of just something more, like, casual, like you were just explaining, people's thought is, "Oh, they'll phase out of that. It's just a
Mhm.
phase. Eventually, they'll be on the marriage track and wanna go down that
Right.
way." Or when they meet the right person, they're gonna change their mind. Like, that's what always comes up. It's not accepted, like, maybe this is all this person really has capacity for.
Yeah.
And I
Is
think
it also
yeah.
go for it, go for it.
I used to think, like, people had a block or, like, they just hadn't found
Mhm.
it yet, and now I'm like, maybe that really is the like, they just have to lean into it.
Right? Maybe it's they need to be honest with themselves, and not even with the person they're trying to date. Just to be honest, like this is all I have capacity for. And I think what we heard when we had this Ryan when we had Ryan Van Duzer on the show, I think he was saying like this is all maybe all I have capacity for, but nobody is validating that. Like
Yeah,
nobody believes me.
and he didn't realize till he was, like, in his 50s.
Well, late 40s. But yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, late 40s, he's probably like, "God damn it." But okay, but, like, it took a while to realize that, I think.
Yeah, it did. It did. Because it's not normal.
No.
Don't people don't talk about it. They and then it's also this default. Like I get it when people go on dates, they go, "What are you looking for?" Well, if you're not looking for a relationship, then you're obviously looking for something casual.
Yeah.
Like it's one or the other and we just haven't created a safe space for people to say, "I want something in between." And here's what I'm thinking.
So what do we do with this info? Because I'm like, if I was listening, I'd be like, okay, yes, you have to build love. It takes time. There's these people out there that it might never happen with. Like, what do I do with this? I mean, I think we kind of covered this on the first day. It does not need to be magic. We talk a lot about this too extensively in our book, other podcast episodes too, about just how, we build and grow. And we actually have a great episode even coming up next season about like how we actually have like a lot of myths around compatibility in the first place. So I think some of it's fine tuning and changing what we actually are looking for in a partner in the first place. So that's that.
Yeah.
I think the second piece that I can think of is asking better questions on dates of like, you know, what does a relationship look like to you? Not just do
Yeah.
you want to be in a relationship? Because I think some people, it's cool to see you once a week and like that's it. and then
Yeah,
other people want to live a life with you. And like in hearing like what is like the actual ideal for you, and then also understanding what else is happening in their lives, like I think that will give you much more of a picture into like where this person sees romantic relationships.
absolutely. And in early dating, we tend to talk in the fantasy terms. So you could ask something like, what is it? What is your ideal vision of a relationship? But then the follow-up question is, what is realistic for you to do
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
Let's go through your week. Let's talk
Yeah.
about when do you have time to date? When do you have time to schedule or set up activities? When do you have time to talk on the phone? When do you have time to text? Or how do you want to set up your days so that there is always communication? Like, I would love to know in reality, in practical terms, on a day to day, what could our relationship look like? Let's forget
Yeah.
about the fantasy. Yeah, ideally, yeah, we'd be traveling the world eating caviar and being on a yacht, sure. But day to day, you're going to the office, and then what? What does this look like?
And you don't have to, like, grill them and, like, make a plan with them on the
No,
fly,
no,
like
no. No,
like,
please
as you
don't.
were
Don't
saying
do
that,
what I just yeah,
I was
don't
like, "Don't
deliver
do
it the
that."
way I just did that.
That was
That's a
podcast
no-no.
only, don't say that to a person. I think it's more like you I don't think there's anything wrong, though, in early stages to be like, "How is best to communicate?" Like, are you
Yeah,
a texter? Do you prefer a phone call? Like, what is ideal in terms of like meeting in person? Like, I think you can sprinkle little things in and you don't need every decision, every like piece of information by date two. Also,
yeah,
like, I think the first couple months are that discovery period. That's what dating is. It's meant to like decide, is this someone that I want to pursue a relationship with? So, we do encourage you to like invest in take like the time at least like a month or 2 to like dive in with someone and see if it could be a fit. And if the answer is no, that's also really valuable information.
so good to
And
know.
it saves you like months and years of being with this person and getting your heart trampled on. Like, I would rather like, go all in and try something and stay more objective. And of course, easier said than done when feelings are involved, but like I think the less time, less feelings tend to be there too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, like, understand how you're investing your energy, but by asking the right questions and really hearing the answers. This
Yeah,
was always my problem. I
same.
was so good at asking questions, and I'm like, "Huh? What was the answer? Oh, I totally missed that first sentence when you told me you weren't ready to be in a relationship and heard that I would love to be in a relationship one day." That is
The
what
translator, the internal
selective.
translator.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
selective hearing is on point when it comes to those first couple of dates. But now I've really learned to ask follow-up
Mhm.
questions. When they talk about, "Oh, I'm just so busy with work right now, but dating is a priority." What does that mean to you? How
Right.
are you prioritizing dating? I love hearing that, but I
Yeah.
don't actually know what that looks like in practice.
Right. And I also feel like asking questions like, is work just really busy right this minute? Or is this like,
Right.
because I think it's easy to say, like, I have other priorities, but dating is still a priority. But do you make it a priority?
Right.
Those are the things that, yeah. Usually, what I found is a lot of times people will actually say the reality, and I just didn't want to hear it because I
Right,
had this
right.
vision in my head. And I was like, I can change them. Again, they meet all
Sure.
this criteria. They are the one because the chemistry is there. I really believe like two people were the one in my lifetime. That now, if I really look at it objectively, I was like,
No,
no.
not the one.
No, but
Not
your mind can really get ahead of you, especially if you're falling into this fantasy that you've seen in movies and all the likes and all your friends are with people. Like, it's easy to go there. So, yeah, listen to what people say.
I always like those, those cutouts when you go to, I don't know, a carnival or whatever, it's a cutout with the face is empty or it's a hole and you stick your face in it, but it's a cutout of like another, it's a character
Yeah.
or whatever. That's how I think the one is presented.
Yeah.
Is there's the one, there's the cutout, and the face is up for grabs, and whoever sticks their face in, boom, that's it. That's your one. And that's not a dynamic figure at all. It's just like the static image, and whoever can fit their face in there, that's a snapshot of the one. And what we're really trying to say here is yes, there's multiple ways to look at the one. There are multiple people who are right for you, but don't get ahead of yourself thinking that this is what you're chasing
Yeah.
after. What you're chasing after is one, what do you have the capacity for right now? And two, what are you looking to expand within yourself? Is it truly just, I want to have fun? Like that could just be, I want to expand my youthful heart. That could be one. Or it could just, it could be like, I want to expand my roles and responsibilities in the society. I want to know if I can be a more mature adult. And that you can do with someone who's willing to do that too. There's just so many ways to go about relationships. It's not a one size fits all. And I hope that we can just shed ourselves of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. Like we mentioned, if you want to dive in more, we have our perfect partner equation that really helps navigate like what are the qualities I should be looking for? What is
Yeah.
that, right partner for me? Again, doesn't mean it's a perfect person, but it's imperfectly perfect for me. And that will really help get us out of these like typical checklists that we tend to gravitate towards now and get out of this mentality of like this date mode of like finding this perfect partner that's great for dates but not life with.
Correct.
So pick it up. Howtobedateable.com, hardcover, audiobook, ebook, all of it. It's there.
And for everybody on live, we're going to be not live for the next 2 weeks, but always go back to our podcast. We have new content
Yes.
every week. Dateablepodcast.com is where you can find it, but we will resume lives in 2 weeks.
Yep. And make sure
Yeah.
to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Not next week.